In case you have been living under a rock, Migos' Takeoff was shot dead outside his private property in Houston, Texas on November 1. He was just 28 years old. The police stated during a press conference that the incident occurred at about 10 a.m. local time. Officers came to the 810 Billiards in Bowling Houston, where there was a private party, and discovered Takeoff's lifeless body. Two other persons were hurt in the shooting, a 23-year-old male and a 24-year-old woman, and were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Employees informed authorities that when the party finished, a large group of individuals gathered outside the building's front entrance, resulting in the shooting. According to the police, at least 40 people were there at the time of the incident. Who was Takeoff? Takeoff grew up in suburban Atlanta. Quavo was his uncle, and Offset was his cousin. The trio was raised mostly by Takeoff's mother. Takeoff was the youngest of the three and was seen as the most relaxed. He didn't make as many headlines as Offset, who was married to Cardi B, and he wasn't as in demand as a featured performer of top 10 tunes as Quavo, who has been on hits with Post Malone, DJ Khaled, and Drake. But fans surely loved him. Takeoff was the youngest member of Migos, whose singles Versace and Bad and Bougie became significant streaming successes, and whose 2017 sophomore album, Culture, topped the pop charts in both the United States and Canada. Along with his talents in Migos, Takeoff released his solo full-length debut, The Last Rocket, in 2018, along with hits such as Crypto, a duet with 2022 Rich the Kid. In 2022, he also released a whole album named Only Built for Infinity Links with fellow Migos member Quavo. Takeoff, who was born Kershnik Karibal on June 18, 1994 in Lawrenceville, Georgia, founded Migos in 2009 with family members Quavo and Offset in an attempt to break free from the ghetto cycle of poverty and violence. Takeoff has performed as a featured musician on various artists' tracks, including Jose Guapo, Chill Will, and most famously Calvin Harris on the song Holiday from the Scottish producer's 2017 album Funk Wave Bounces Volume 1. Takeoff's death has the sports world mourning. Takeoff was popular not just in the music industry, but also in sports. He and his groupmates, Quavo and Offset, were frequently spotted courtside at NBA games, cheering for the Atlanta Hawks, and even attending NFL games to see the Atlanta Falcons play. He has attended several NBA All-Star events and cheered on his uncle Quavo, who participated in the All-Star Celebrity Game multiple times. While fans expressed their grief on social media, numerous sportsmen and sports media people from across the world also reacted to his demise. Hip-hop's influence on basketball culture. If you listen to the lyrics of any rap song nowadays, you will most certainly hear a lot of NBA allusions tossed in, such as 3 in the fourth quarter. Both hip-hop and the NBA have become household names in recent decades, and they have both developed to become enormous pop cultural impacts on one another. If there is one thing that unites both the hip-hop culture and the NBA, it is today's youngsters. Regardless of where you are or whether or not you play basketball, you will find youngsters everywhere sporting their NBA singlets, which are all too often worn by rappers to support their team or city. Not only American kids, but young all around the world are greatly impacted by hip-hop and NBA culture. Throughout the decades, one recurrent motive in many songs has been rappers stating that they have made it out, which means regardless of how or where they were raised, they have found a way to make their goal come true and transform their destiny. Tracks like this greatly encourage youngsters all across the world, and we are now seeing these goals come true for basketball players more frequently than not. Basketball and music are both American dreams for some of today's youngsters, and the good deeds of your favorite player on the court or your favorite musician on the microphone, as well as how they labored to make their dreams come true, inspire many across the world. Basketball, like music, has become a platform for discovering something new in life. The incorporation of morals and ethical concepts is a prevalent misunderstanding regarding hip-hop culture. Because of profanity and other preconceptions, the genre has been stigmatized in society. But what about the other components of hip-hop? Fashion is clearly at the top of the list. That is self-evident. Rhyming, spitting bars, and so forth are common misconceptions. It's more of a form of art, a distinct phrase that is frequently misinterpreted as criminal language. Rapping is narrative in action. Every tale is unique. Hip-hop has a longer history than most people realize. For many young African Americans growing up in New York's inner city areas, scratching records became the norm. How did basketball and hip-hop cross over? In the 1990s, Shaquille O'Neal released his highly awaited hip-hop album. The age of baggy shorts, snapback caps, and starting jackets has here. In terms of hip-hop fashion, groups such as Criss Cross, Run DMC, and others developed their own distinct kinds of cool. The &1 mixtape tour dominated the country in the early 2000s. It was the beginning of hip-hop and basketball coexisting in the same cultural context. Millions of spectators tuned in to see the famous ESPN show Street Ball, which featured clips of packed open runs, stunts, dunks, and of course instrumentals and rhymes. One of the most famous rappers, Drake, has been a huge evangelist for the game, and his music has even been linked with his devotion to his favorite team. Drake's local club, the Toronto Raptors, made history by winning the NBA championship in 2019. Drake was in the front row for every game he could attend, and his excitement and zeal for his team was highlighted by media sources all over the world, with the Raptors even receiving fines as a result of Drake. Drake would go on to celebrate the Raptors winning the NBA title by suddenly publishing 2 new songs on the day they were crowned champions. Jay-Z bought $1 million in the Nets in 2004, marking a watershed moment for the two future cultures, which were going to skyrocket in prominence. Jay-Z sold his stake in the company in 2013, although he still has a stake in the Barclays Center, where the Nets play their home games. While Jay-Z no longer owns any part of the Nets, his organization Roc Nation Sports represents several athletes, including current NBA stars Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, to mention a few. Michael Jordan is a name that is well known in the realm of pop culture. Jordan's shoe brand is one of the most well-known in the world. His basketball sneakers not only conquer the streetwear scene, but they are also one of hip-hop's most represented and talked about apparels. A lot of hip-hop artists these days are looked at more for how they dress and how they indulge in their fashion and express themselves, and this is also a huge part of the NBA with how the stars dress and represent themselves before putting on their team jersey. When you watch NBA pre-games, you typically see your favorite NBA stars wearing high-end branded streetwear and showcasing their own style. Similarly, there isn't much of a difference between seeing your favorite rapper prepared to enter the stage in the same way. Aside from the grind-heavy methods shared by the two disciplines, the number of explicit sports and athlete references in hip-hop may cover whole textbooks. Whether it's naming NBA superstar LeBron James in a song or sitting courtside at Toronto Raptors games, the song would surely be hyped up by fans and believers. Hearing their name in a song serves as confirmation that they're doing something right on the court or field. Late NBA star Kobe Bryant was no stranger to hip-hop allusions, with artists such as Lil Wayne and Chief Keef both naming songs after the icon. Even Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady has a long record of rap allusions, highlighting his unrivaled brilliance and status on the field. Sports allusions in hip-hop keep the two entities interwoven. Both players and musicians become heroes for people to look up to, and it's clear that athletes and rappers share the same level of adoration. Hip-hop's presence in sports may motivate players to delve into their creative side, a phenomenon that has gained traction as sportsmen have begun to produce music independently, outside of label supervision. Times have changed a lot in music and sports in general. It is much more influenced by the money and lifestyle that come with both professions, and both of these creative outlets carry a dream for so many people about making something for themselves, being bigger in life, and leaving their mark on millions. Our thoughts are with Takeoff and his family, and may you forever rest in peace. Thank you for watching till the end, and we hope you will enjoy our other videos.